seriously. Yours like mine, that equipment's up.
No.
We went too bad. Maybe I didn't get a little accomplished.
You know, understand the definition of grass, dude. And so from then on, I've taken that with me wherever somebody's like, oh, it's like, you just don't understand the definition of grass.
We had
I think I'll be big dogs. That's the play.
That was, we had a similar thing.
Nobody ever gets
Vivian out there.
that flag is for one big thing. We entered the
Became a couple,
we put up.
we went up,
when
our
we're supposed to,
vacation,
they are,
they go up and see
they
the
put their name, they swap that.
I'm gonna have to take it out.
That's all you got to do about this.
They really do.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Okay.
It's pretty good group.
Yeah, they had a big,
Been a long step.
Right?
everybody's. Go down there and
Very
drive
little
right
version.
onto the flight.
All that.
Happy late birthday, Christina.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Good day.
When somebody's out.
You take the kids. Down there, there's be a airman down there.
Everybody knows
Pull up,
that.
he just wants his buddies.
They call it on something.
Kids let them get on one of these
The others.
and just
You don't ever hear
run around.
it to us.
You know, and
That's not
and,
what I'm
you know,
hearing. That's right. My job.
Same here.
yeah, there ain't no way that they would let you get close to one of those things now. You know, it was just so lax.
Talking about it in there, sir?
No, this was, my father-in-law was being
Everybody
engineer
keeps an eye on it.
for SAT.
Some attention. She won't know when it was gonna be on the list.
How are you? Nothing, how you doing?
Ah, I didn't even recognize it. How are you, sir? You cleaned up pretty good.
Hey, I'm fine, you?
Oh, yeah.
All day. I'm fine, sir. You?
Good, how are you? Yes.
Oh, man.
I sent you, a confirmation to your read over.
Okay, excellent. I think it makes me feel good to be acknowledged.
Christina, thank you for sending me that road information. Oh, good. That's good.
How are things in the kingdom? Well, we're chugging right along. We had one guy got.
Yes, sir.
Oh, is there? You done one? I'm glad you did.
Well, you sent it to me last week.
Drove the lane.
Hey, Harry.
Okay, yeah.
All our kids did. She carried you.
Oh, yes.
Christina's either trying to keep us moving or not let us know what's going on. Took the clock off the wall.
It's broken. It's broken. The battery, it works, it doesn't move. It just sits in the same spot.
Yeah, I come in here, the auditor was in here one day, and I was like, all right, guys, y'all wrapping up for today, and, no, it wasn't the auditor, it was the enrollment people, yeah. Looked back here, and I was like, 10 to 3. And I was like, no, it's 5, we're going home. So I told Lacey, I carried it in there, I don't know where Lacey had the batteries, put one in it, and it wouldn't work, so she's got nothing on it.
Don't feel bad, the picture we got down, so Trevor, I used to have hanging in the back of the shirt, that Rick can see, he took it down too, so.
Somebody just buy one, stick back up there.
I sit in the back row, and I just tell you, real simple.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt.
Give me the
This might be one of the quicker meetings we've ever had.
I deserve it. Maybe I was agree about the sermon day. It was a great message.
We redid it. Brush
Oh, we take his watch off and lay it on the phone. Every time he starts. I didn't care what time it was. But that was an old Southern preacher. I mean, any moment you think he goes down there and get a meeting.
We looked at a big map, it is. It is just, great, it's right there, it's on. And then, on dad's. So if you haven't been driving, it's there.
I go by every time I come out this way, I was just gonna write it down, and just have Alan go out and look, and we can look on our list and see where it's at on this.
Oconee Street Methodist Church, which is still standing, was on the other side of the river. He orchestrated moving that church. And this was like in 1868. They moved that church from the Armstrong and Dobbs side, moved it down to the river, floated it, and then took it where it was at.
Anybody heard from Brian? Well, no worries. Welcome everybody to the Madison County Board of Commissioners regular business meeting, May 19th, 2025, 6 p.m. Please stand for pledge. Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Gentlemen, before you have a copy of the minutes from April 28, 2025 regular business meeting, minutes from the May 2nd, 2025 special call meeting, and minutes from the May 5th, 2025 agenda setting work session. If you see no discrepancies, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to amend the approved as presented.
Motion by Commissioner Chandler,
Second.
second by Commissioner Adams. Gentlemen, any discussion? Hearing none, we'll start off with Frank.
Yes.
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 All right, thank you. Business involving guest groups and multiple visitors. This might be, no, no, there's not, okay. Maybe the fastest and quietest meeting I can recall in 4 years, unless one of those two judges.
There's still time.
Goes out.
Doors still open.
Keep in mind, Sheriff's Office down here at the bottom, so if we need it, we'll call. Chairman's report, just briefly, the tire amnesty is still going on, through May 31st, Wednesday through Friday only, up to 10 tires per citizen. For more information, call 706-795-5151. Please take advantage of that. I wanted to read an email. This come from MedLink. Information about the food distribution. So MedLink, Georgia, in partnership with the Food Bank of Northeast Georgia, hosted a successful food distribution event on Thursday, May 8th in downtown Danielsville, providing a total of 11,581 pounds of food to 262 Madison County households. This collaboration aims to address food insecurity by giving families access to fresh, nutritious groceries at no cost. MedLink is proud to serve the community not only through quality health care, but also through initiatives like this that we well-being for our neighbors. Thanks again for your support for the Public Works Department helping us dispose of all the trash. That was not just trash. There was a lot of pallets in that. But I wanted to say personally thank you to MedLink. This email came from Christina Bloomberg, and I think there was another one attached from, I don't have it, but a vice president of something in MedLink. I forgot. I apologize for that name. But on that note, during the spring, Danielsville Baptist Church down here, I didn't get a total count, but I know they've unloaded 2 transfer trucks full of food up in the parking lot at City Hall of Danielsville twice already this year. And I know there's a big volunteer group out there packing cars. This was on a Saturday, both events, but always hats off to that group down there at that church. They do so many good things for the community through their clothing outreach program or the clothes closet program, but then again with the food. So whoever they're partnering with, please keep up the good work, and we say thank you. Statements, remarks from citizens on tonight's agenda. Hearing none, we'll move into old business. Consider rebate funding for Sammy Haggard Park lower concession and restroom renovations. Gentlemen, Shelley will not be here tonight. Christina has the information in front of you. I think her and Shelley's been collaborating back and forth about this project. I know we had asked for some cost estimates. Christina, if you want to take it from there, I'll be more than happy to let you take it over.
Yeah, you'll have a cost breakdown. She's requesting $7,500 for the project total, split out into $4,200 for the concession stands and $3,300 for the restrooms. The main goal of the restrooms is to meet the ADA requirements. So that you can see, she talks about busting out the concrete and moving plumbing around to meet those requirements.
So the rebate was $8,000, right?
It was either 8 or 82.
Yeah, I think that's right. So we're under that.
Mm-hmm. She had planned on being here. She was out of the office today. Then some things come up, she wasn't able to come back into town. So we had talked about it. She said she is fine if you guys want to postpone it until the June 2nd meeting if you had further questions. So we had discussed if y'all wanted to approve the dollar amount, maybe with the chairman to oversee the actual construction and the moving the stuff around, or if y'all want her to come back with some more detailed plans, which she was fine with whatever direction the board would like to go.
One thing I'd say about that is if we want to go ahead and proceed with the allocation up to the $8,200 or whatever it is, if there's any overrun of cost or something that she may have left out, we can come back at that point and request additional funds.
I think we can find proceed that way. I want her to make sure that, at least in my mind, in addition to meeting ADA requirements, those restrooms there just need to be nicer. They just would not.
Agreed, so I'll take that in the form of a motion.
Yes.
I have a second. All right, I have a motion by Commissioner Chandler, second by Commissioner Adams. Any discussion, gentlemen? Commissioner Dalton?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
All right. Consider a resolution for probate court technology fee. Gentlemen, we've really already heard from Cody. Do you have anything new to add?
Nothing new to add, I promise.
All right.
It's just, I appreciate, if we could get this done, it would help offset the cost, that the county incurs related to our technology, expenses.
So what we'll do is, if we'll also consider a resolution on the magistrate technology fee, and then we'll just take them both up in one vote, if that's okay with you, Mr. Pruitt?
Sure, that's fine.
I do have a few questions I talked with Ms. Susan about this afternoon. If it goes into legislation next year, do you know, and if it's approved, will it begin July 1st is when you'll change those fees, or will it have to wait until the following January, so 2027?
I don't know. I guess it would be on how it's proposed.
I don't think that it mentions that in the resolution.
Well, it'll go into session, it'll be session when they vote on it. That'll end in about March. It'll get on the governor's desk probably for signature between April and May.
Should be
He may
July.
put a deadline
Yeah.
on it, starting the date of the signature, and then again, it may have a deadline of, we don't know.
You know what that
It could possibly.
begin date is, if we're talking about 5-year period.
It's July 1 unless it's otherwise
Okay.
stated in the bill.
Okay.
There you go.
And then another thing, Cody, and Judge Patton, was, I understand that these are technology fees to cover your software and systems in IT in your department. Did those go in your revenue, like some of your other court fees, and stay in your courts, or is that some of that come back to the BOC for IT that the BOC provides separately?
Well, if I understand, if I follow what you're asking,
Sorry.
it would, we would keep, I guess magistrate court would keep a separate account. We would keep a separate account. And what's not used at the end of the period, it would all revert back to the county. That's my understanding.
Okay, that was just some
Yeah.
questions that Stephen wanted me to ask.
Gotcha. Yeah, it would be a separate account that we would, I guess, have to submit with our yearly audit.
And gentlemen, this is a win-win for the taxpayers. You stop and think about the cost of computers, the maintenance of the programs that we run. for lack of better words, this is a no-brainer on our part. You think about the 1,200 to 1,500 civil cases alone that was filed in the last year in magistrate court. That's a wonderful thing.
Yes, sir.
And I appreciate you guys considering and helping us hopefully make this happen, and including me in it.
So, Judge, is there anything else you'd like to add? And I'm going to bring you up to speed a little bit on the probate side. What we had discussed prior was just doing the flat 10, because there was a 5, 10, or a 15 range. Do you have a preference that you would like to us?
No, sir, that sounds wonderful to me.
All right. I know Cody felt more comfortable with 10, but it seemed like the probate side was leaning that way, maybe at the state level, if we could all be across the board. You're good with that also?
Yes, sir.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like to advise us on this topic?
No.
All right. We're going to make it fast. Gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion for both resolutions.
Make a motion, we approve resolutions for the magistrate court and the probate court for technology fees, for not to exceed $10 for a period of 5 years.
Second motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Doster and a second by Commissioner Chandler. Any discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, Commissioner Adams.
Yes.
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 Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank y'all.
Y'all have a great night.
Thank you. We
Oh,
appreciate it.
man.
I have a resolution for all signatures, and I'll just get Brian to come in later.
This is finally one of the good things we get to see come down. And to be honest, Judge Patton, you were right. All taxpayers should appreciate this one. All right. New business, consider an intergovernmental agreement with the Madison County and the City of Carlton for animal control services.
Other cities are currently doing this.
I got one, Kristen.
None at the moment. So, when I met with the cities last Wednesday, we discussed this agreement, and Mr. Pruitt and Carlton's attorney, they've done some verbiage change from the last one. So once, if the board decides to move forward with the City of Carlton's, I'll send that template to the other cities, and we'll reinstate all 5 other cities once their councils have approved them.
And the only change was to give the city 30 days to adopt the ordinance after we adopt this, rather than them doing it first, just for timing issues.
All right.
So we have, I guess it's been a year and a half ago, is when we discontinued that service, and that was due to staffing and funding availability. So we put staff in that department, we funded that department, we got some vehicles and some equipment, and then we started hiring additional staff, and we just kept having turnover. We couldn't get at least 2 full-time in that department. So now we're running on, I think, about 6 months with 2 full-time staff and a new ordinance in place for them. And so both of the judges have really helped the 2 animal control staff that we have. So I think that the county is now in a place where we can start providing that service again comfortably, where we weren't able to do that.
One thing you reminded me of there, I did ask about court services while Judge Patton's here. Carlton, the attorney told me, has its own municipal court judge, so it does not need Judge Patton's court to enforce this for them. Other cities will probably be different, and if so, that's something we'll have to get Judge Patton's consent to, as well as the board of commissioners.
Okay. What you talking about animal control?
Yes.
That's all gonna be on y'all. We're doing a municipal court for our other ordinances. So we have not counted to do anything court-wise for animal control since we're going with your ordinance.
Just relating what I was told.
Okay, well, I'll talk with Mr. Jordan then. Thank you.
Now, that's a little bit of a conundrum, man, because you sort of kind of need to know
Yeah.
prior to this board voting.
I mean, we are attempting to put together a municipal court. Judge.
Oh, so you don't have one currently?
No, we don't.
Oh, okay, but you're looking at it.
Well, yeah, I've talked to Judge Sneed. I'm looking for a part-time code enforcement person. Mr. Jordan says I need a solicitor and a bailiff. So I'm trying to put all those together so we can start doing our own code enforcement, except for the animal control. I mean, if we need to do the municipal court, that's fine.
Well, if you don't have one, obviously it's not gonna take place, so therefore you'll have to run under ours until that point. We'd have to, potentially change the contract.
It's a separate contract. We did this with Iowa, if I remember.
Well, that's what I was about to ask, so like Danielsville and Comer have their own, correct?
I don't know. I remember
Is that correct, Danielsville,
one,
Yes.
And we carry, y'all carry Iowa, because we just added code enforcement about 6 to 8 months ago, maybe a year ago. So unless you have an agreement, you should have one with Judge Patton.
for
You have one with Carlton?
for the county municipal court to act as a magistrate court, to act as municipal court, there's a code section that authorizes that. It has to be it's a different resolution that has to be signed and approved by both the chief magistrate and the board of commissioners.
I thought we had one.
We did one with one city, I think it's Iowa.
Okay.
That's what I remember.
And magistrate court is good with whatever the board moves forward with. Y'all are supportive of me. I don't have any issues. I feel like we can take up whatever you send us.
All right. With that being said, though, Mike, we're not prepared tonight because this is the wrong contract then.
It's not the wrong contract, it's just
It just need to be amended.
based on the new information presented, no, you would adopt this one plus the separate contract
Okay.
for court services.
Okay. All right.
So you just need to let us know.
I will call Mr. Jordan tonight and ask that question.
And I assume a timetable you can go with it too. Assume there'll be some time required to assemble their own municipal court if they decide to do so.
Well, yeah, I mean, again, we've already done it once, we have the form.
Yeah, we have a
This is
document.
whatever the city
Template.
needs.
Yeah, but for them to get things in order.
Mm-hmm.
Just to help you, Comer and Danielsville both have municipal courts because they both have police officers that serve as the bailiffs and helps the judges. That's gonna be a struggle for y'all to set that up. I mean, it's a major financial struggle, even with the traveling judge, and if he gets all the proceeds, you still gotta pay all those other people you don't employ. It's just something to think about. That's why it works in Comer and Danielsville, because of their police stations.
Sure. So just so you know, what we put in there, change the verbiage about the 30 days, we're already gonna have a public hearing and our first reading on the 29th. And then the following week, we'll have the second reading and we'll vote. So if y'all sign off on this, then we'll go ahead and get our ordinance changed.
Right.
And those readings, not that it matters, but just in case you're curious as to why they have to do it when we don't, many of the city charters that were written by the regional commission decades ago imposed those requirements on cities. Luckily, the counties does not.
Thank you.
All right, gentlemen. With that being said, I'll entertain a motion.
Well, I guess my question is it more appropriate to I'm not opposed to the document. I guess I'm just questioning from a process standpoint. Is it should be held for approximately 30 days just to get both documents in the right place at the right time with collaboration with council, or does it matter? And we just
It would make sense, I mean, to adopt this one first, it means that, that would mean that once the city council has done their 2 readings and they adopt the county's animal control ordinance, the county's animal control officers would potentially be out there writing citations with no court in which to prosecute them.
So we do need a motion to table until we get the second document.
So I understand then, if the city of Carlton decides to proceed with a municipal court, would they still utilize our animal control people at that point? And, I mean, why would we be involved in it at all? I guess is what I'm asking.
Because they're not going to have their own animal control officers. So to enforce an ordinance requires two things, well, at least two things.
Yeah.
One of which is an officer to go out and write citations, the other is a court in which to prosecute those citations. We can provide one without the other. And I thought that's what we were doing based on my conversation with the city attorney, but the mayor has informed us otherwise.
So with all that said, I think I am more comfortable by placing this on a 30-day. And giving staff and both council persons for each entity a chance to verify, clarify.
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Doster to table, second by Commissioner Chandler to table for 30 days. Or do you have a date?
Our next business meeting
Next business meeting, Christina, you know what date that is, huh?
is on over 30 days.
It's longer than 30 days.
Yeah, because of the holiday, June 30th.
June 30th.
That's fine with that. I'm in the motion. You carry my intent.
All right, I have a motion by Commissioner Doster, second by Commissioner Chandler. Any other discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, Commissioner Chandler.
Yes.
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 All right, you see what we're doing?
Yes.
That way it gives you time.
Yes.
All right, discuss proposed social media policy, gentlemen.
So the one you had before, I think was like 5 or 6 pages long, and we've had some conversations with HR and the attorney, and we have narrowed it down and simplified the ordinance to what you have, the cleanest and most enforceable.
I noticed you said ordinance. Is this going to be placed somewhere in the code of ordinances?
Yes.
Okay.
We need to find that, find it a place, yeah.
Well, I appreciate the work on it. I think the other one was, I won't say wrong, I just, a lot of words. I think this is probably fairly clear in the intent and easy to understand by staff.
I concur. Gentlemen, I entertain a motion.
It's just for discussion.
Oh, it's just for discussion.
Can we not go ahead and proceed with this tonight and get it off the table?
You probably need an appropriate location for the land to amend the code of ordinances.
Yeah, correct. And the document titled ordinance. Yes.
Okay. Sounds good. I concur with what Derek said. Thank y'all both, because this ain't been me. This has been Christina, Tracy, and Mike, and I appreciate it, because we needed something, and now we have that. And I do agree also that it's very crisp and clean, and it should not be, I don't think there's any gray in it. So I appreciate it. Discussing, what?
Number 5, 2, there's an F missing yourself.
Discuss an intergovernmental agreement with Madison County and all municipalities for 2026. Splash, this was a meeting I was unable to attend due to, I was sick.
Yeah.
Very sick.
So I've sent you guys a few emails following up from the meeting, that last Wednesday that we had with the mayors. We talked about a lot of things with the mayors. Those two things, so what we discussed was a SPLOST distribution can be any type of percentage dollar figure on how the counties and the governing body decide to divide those funds. There is an OCGA law that states if the counties and municipalities don't agree on a distribution, it reverts back to population base. The current and previous ones, from what we can determine, have always been distributed based off of population. So we had 5 out of 6 mayors there. We talked about that they were all fine with using population. There was conversations on, do we want to use the formal 2020 census data? There was concerns with that because there were several cities, they know their population has increased a lot. And I think the county, for us, internally staff, we felt like the census numbers were not correct anyway. So I reached out to Northeast Georgia, and in your packet, there's an email of where I've got some 2023 and 2024 numbers. It's from the Ezra Business Analysis, which is out of the Atlanta Regional Commission. They format the American Community Surveys for the most recent estimates. That's where the population numbers I've got. So on the top sheet, you have 4 different options. So we discussed the population, and then some of the mayors asked us to calculate a 1.25 to 1 versus a 1-to-1 ratio on the division of funds. So that was just requested to be presented to you guys. So you have 4 options based off of 2 different populations and then 2 different ratios. You also have, there's a spreadsheet, an Excel sheet in here from Ms. Payne. She gave us a projection. So what I have noticed, and Mr. Pruitt will be a better source of information, on all the previous IGAs and bond information for SLOC, it states dollar figures. It never states percentages until you get to those specific entities. Then they divide their funds by percentage. So in the IGA and the referendum, it'll state, like the 2020, it was 13.3 million. Ms. Payne has projected a 15.3 million. And then we will internally use that top sheet of population percentage distribution to come up with numbers to give the cities to put in that IGA. That makes sense.
Yeah.
It was a lot of math.
And just so you know, I did receive a call from 3 out of the 6 mayors, and very good conversation, as it always is. And they were just, for one, they were very thankful that Christina done a great job in the presentation. They really respected how the input back and forth went. But they wanted to elaborate on why they felt the need to try to increase this. And it was my thought to go to a 1.25 versus a 1-to-1 ratio. And the main reason is because we do want growth in the cities. We're going to maintain the rural character of the county the best we can. Then we are going to have to highly populate cities. The city of Comer, which also has water and sewer, but does provide sewer services, to the middle school, the elementary schools, and then also out to the industrial park. City of Danielsville, same way. They carry the burden of a sewer plant, and I promise you, a sewer plant is a burden. It is not a cash cow. Water makes money, sewer loses money. But I think the city of Comer just spent about $400,000 revamping their pond. Danielsville just spent about $530, $580. Don't hold me to the exact number on revamping their pond. And a lot of that usage is coming from county residents in the school systems. I do think some of these cities get the short end of the stick because of the amount of, Danielsville population, for instance. If you go by the 2020 population census data, that's midnight population 654, but during the day there's average 4,500 to 5,000 people that they service per day. So it's a little skewed. It's still a good rule of thumb, but to help these cities out a little bit, we've come so far in a partnership right now with them that I feel giving them a little bit of extra will only strengthen our partnership with them, but also help them climb out of the hole. Right now, we'll take, for instance, Madison Street. Madison Street's got, I don't know how many cars a day, thousands of cars a day that goes to the schools, between the Board of Education, elementary school, and the high school. Half of that street's in the city. Is it fair for a city with a population so small that'll take approximately 5 years worth of LMIG just to be able to pay that one portion? We've got to be able to help these guys out. And I think this is the most, SPLOST is the most fairest way to do so, in my personal opinion only. So I don't care which way y'all want to do this, but I would like you to consider increasing to at least a 1.25 ratio instead of a 1.0 ratio, 1-to-1.
I don't have a concern with that either way. I'm pretty concerned about those population numbers. You look at them on a percentage basis, that's showing a 25% difference from Carver. Carver's not bad, 6% difference. 27.5 on Comer, 48.5%. That's almost half again. Mm-hmm. On Danielsville, 11% on Hull, and 40% on Isla. Difference from the 2020 something way off. If that 2020 census was that bad, that's a real problem there.
Yeah,
I know there's growth going on, but.
Yeah. Well,
that's been a state discussion.
When that census came out back in 2021, me and Christina took a deep dive into seeing what we actually had. And we actually disputed the census to the state. And they said, well, we're not going to say you're wrong, but we're not going to change our number.
Yeah.
That's exactly what the state told us, because we pulled, at the time, all the building permits over a 10-year period. And we also knew at the time, because it was right around the COVID time, what was for rent in the county, what was for sale in the county. And basically, there was nothing on either end. I mean, less than 1%. So we were showing somewhere around a 34,000 population. And in verifying with the schools, their growth, that we knew that the 30,120 was off by about 4,000 people. So now, I think that 2023 is probably reflecting that a little closer. Danielsville taking about a 300 population jump. I think they're just trying to make up for some of that they knew was off a little bit to begin with, and then adding the houses. If you take the apartment complexes in Danielsville, they don't add up to be that number. Yeah. If you take the new homes in North Region, they don't add up to be that number. But I do think they're taking into consideration how wrong it was in 2020. So that they may actually be right. Culver had a pretty good jump. Actually, I think Culver's on the year slow.
6%.
Yeah, here it's slow.
Which is essentially the same as what the county is. It's just been a pretty startling difference in the numbers.
The city of Isla, that's one that really throws me. The biggest loop is 140 population, but I think they've only built 20 homes in Isla.
Where do you put them?
Yeah, on that side road, it's always been built 20. So they had to have missed it the first go around. But the census folks won't never tell you that.
So if we go to the 1.25, and essentially the county ends up $500,000 less. Mm-hmm. And that portion gets divided among the cities.
Over a 5-year period.
I don't have a strong opinion either way, but see me go with option 4.
6-year period. Did y'all use 6 years, didn't you?
6 years.
I thought it was 5, I'm sorry.
I think it was 5 too.
I may be wrong, Mike.
It was 6 years on the last one.
If you can reach an intergovernmental agreement with the cities, which means you have agreement with cities comprising at least 50% of the population by the official census, then you're allowed to go 6 years. If you don't, you can only go 5.
Oh, okay.
Forgive my ignorance, but I'm just still confused with the 1.25 to 1. I mean, I look at that and I think there should be 25% difference somewhere, and I'm not sure if it's 2.5%. I mean, what are we multiplying the 1.25 to get to?
That's, you're multiplying the population. So instead of a 1-to-1, instead of dividing,
So 1.25 person.
You give the city's credit for.
so like that bottom one, we'll just do Isla. You'll take their population number, that 1.45%, you multiply it by a 1.25, that gives you what their person equals, and then you divide it out.
So for every 4 people, you end up with 5.
Yes. Or you take that 350, you multiply that by 1.25, and that gives your total number of population, and you divide that into the counties.
So you also, I guess, so you change the numerator, but not the denominator, right?
Yes.
Okay. So the numerator is increased
Yes.
from 36, 39 to whatever that number times 1.25 is, but then you still divide it by the same denominator of 30,120. Is that what you did?
Yep.
Okay.
So you got a 1.25 to 1 ratio.
Good job for a Monday evening.
Who secretly wanted to be a math major?
It's simple arithmetic. Math is calculus.
All right, do you,
Well, I don't have strong feelings either way. I just think from a historical standpoint and moving forward, you know, with T-Plus and other ones coming in the future, it may be a little confusing looking backwards, but, even if the 2020 numbers are wrong, if they're wrong across the board, I would assume, so. I just like the defined number versus estimated or calculated numbers.
So, I guess I agree with Derek. I personally, I mean, for want of a better medium to use as a guide, the census is what it is until we have the next census. With that being said, I don't have a problem with the 1.25, which would lead me towards option number 3. But the estimated count is, I mean, at some point, without substantial annexation on the part of our municipalities, they're going to max out on what they're doing, or what they're able to do. And anyway, I would lean towards option 3 and do 1.25. I agree that the city municipalities' costs have escalated just like the county's costs have, and it would show some good faith on our part to share with them spillage funds.
So we'll also go forward with Ms. Payne's estimate of the 15,308,909. The total collected. If the board agrees, I'll get with the mayors and get them the option 3 numbers, so that way we can plug that into the template Mr. Pruitt provided, and they can start having their discussions on how to split their funds, because we'll need to add that to the IGA.
But Terry, you were option 4.
Yeah, unless that's fine, I can call the motions.
So may I ask why you're anticipating less collection in the next 6-year period than
I left that solely up to the finance director. We
Typically,
did
you
have
try to nobody's asking you this question, so maybe I should shut up.
I'm asking, go ahead.
Thank you. Typically, you overestimate rather than underestimate so that you don't get into the always great question of whether SPLOST ends if you reach your number before the 6 years.
We did also discuss that, and she felt the opposite, that we should underestimate, that overestimate. She did say she had done a lot of research, that she couldn't find an actual formula, and we discussed how difficult it is to kind of project that out. You're trying to project a number out 6 years.
I'm merely telling you that it creates a potential legal problem.
So from my understanding with the splosh, if it's within a certain percentage collected, and let's just say you're under, that money rolls back into the general fund. I need to do more research on it too. Derek, you may nothing, just disregard it. Derek, you may have a formula to help.
I mean, generally, what we do is basically we take past data and look at that trend and forward that trend upward. I mean, generally it's upward on the sales tax revenues. And so when you get to that point, and then you take maybe some factor of safety or some sort of, income growth, not income growth, population-based growth, sales growth, whether it's 1% per year, 2% per year, whatever that's tracking, and estimate that forward to give you those revenues per year for that 6-year period. And then, as Counselor was saying, is over, at least my historical reference has been, it's either when you hit the amount that you say you're going to hit, or the time expires. So if you're lower and you don't overestimate to some degree, it can't be super crazy, but if you underestimate and you hit that number, then that triggers when it will end, because you have to stop collections within the quarter that you hit it. So you might actually hit that quarter. Yeah. You may hit it like the first day in that quarter, which you can collect to the end of the quarter, or you may be the last week of the quarter, and all of a sudden now you got to send out notices to stop collecting it, because then we don't have time to, if we happen to watch it, we don't have time to prorate the next one and keep it continuous.
That's correct.
So it's safer, in my opinion, to estimate to target the 60 or the time period portion of it.
I agree with all that. I just wish it had been accepted when I said it.
Is there a requirement in the way SPLOST guidelines are written that there does have to be a dollar amount attached to it, or can it be just done percentage wise and left open-ended?
Dollar amount.
Okay.
So my question that I would like to ask about that is, if you put in a dollar amount for the cities, and whatever you project, if you under collect, do you have to satisfy those city dollar amounts before you satisfy the?
Those are all estimates. The dollar figures are estimates.
You live up to the percentage.
Yes, you go back to the percentage on the allocations.
So the number we want to go with is a little bit of an overestimate of what the total collection would be anticipated.
That's the advice from myself and Commissioner Nostra.
So the first 6 months we collected, we averaged $183,000. The last 6 months we've collected, I think we've averaged $275. We're looking at $90,000 monthly difference for each year. So I guess you could put all that data into a chart and graph it, and then that's
really no different than the way we do our budgets.
An increased percentage over time.
We look back over 5 years on the budgets, we can do that the same thing.
It's better to be over instead of under.
But there's no harm in being over as long as we don't spend money before we have it.
Right, well,
No harm in estimating.
there's only two ways you can spend it before you have it. One is if you have a bond issue, the other is if you borrow from operational funds anticipating you're going to repay that.
So as long as we're operating within our means,
Yeah.
there's no disadvantage to overestimating, estimating on the high side.
Right.
So you're not getting a vote on this tonight anyway?
No, I needed to know what to tell the cities so they could start having their discussions and talk about dollar figures. So that leaves me with two more questions. When and how do I need to get a number back in front of the board that they're good with total projected? And then we've got June 9th and June 12th. We're going to have SPLOST meetings with the staff, so I need a time for those.
What's our first meeting?
June
Monday?
2nd.
June 2nd, that's when we need to do it.
Well, their cities will start having their meetings to discuss it.
I'm talking about when you get your final number back before this board,
Yeah,
you can email it out to them, just because it's a final number not to be voted on, but we won't be able to vote on it until June 2nd. Unless you have a special call.
What, election date are you looking to?
it's just that their November ballot.
November? So that call has to be issued at least 90 days prior to the election, which puts you in August, so early August, so should leave it at that.
So the cities, they'll do like we do, they'll discuss and then vote the month of June. They'll have all agreed to have their signed portion of the IGA back to me the last week of June for us to have. And I was gonna turn around and put it on our July agenda to vote on, or work session agenda to vote on. Hoping that internally we could have our distributions agreed upon departmentally. So by the time we got all their signatures, we'd just be good to go. And that'd leave one meeting for an emergency, try to fix something before I send it to board elections.
So, I mean, obviously the consensus is the 1.25 through the table. Frank, do you have any opinion on, I mean, it looks like items 3 and 4, is there an opinion one way or the other?
I'd rather go with the hard data from 2020.
Yeah, we won't get another one until 2030. All right. So that's not a vote yet, but it is something to consider.
And then are y'all good with June 9th and 12th? Say we get here at 10, work till 12 and take a lunch if we're not done and come back to meet with all departments.
Oh.
For their SPOS requests.
I think I can take off for that.
Yeah. For your calendar. It's a Monday and a Thursday.
The Thursday before Father's Day.
I think so.
Father's Day is the third Sunday.
Oh.
I will make as many hours as I can.
Same for me. I think I moved,
Is
Just want to comment on Ms. Payne's thinking. From a business standpoint, I do just exactly what I'm thinking. I underestimate my income, but overestimate my expenses to make them good. But obviously, that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, and the more Mike and Derek was talking, I remembered going back through this years ago, and I knew if you do set it too low and you hit that mark, I mean, if you set it so low that you actually hit it in the 5th year instead of the 6th year, you're just out. And but I don't know why it didn't dawn on me when we were coming up with these numbers, but after hearing both of them, I do remember now we had to exaggerate the number, or at least anticipate a larger number to keep from hitting that threshold.
No, she had a lot of questions, and she really struggled with it. You know, it's like I was telling Dennis earlier, we still have 3 more years of the current president, and then you have another term, presidential term in this SPOS, and the economy, it's hard to project stuff like that.
And I know this is apples and oranges, but historically, if you look at this, the tenure of this BOC, historically, our millage rate, while a meal is still a meal, the dollars collected in a meal has increased every year. So it would almost be a safe assumption that the sales dollars would, while not tracking that, would also increase through the county too. I mean,
well, there's always a few drivers that can never be anticipated. For instance, something happens and Ingalls decides we're not going to be here no more. That's going to be a huge multi-million-dollar pullout that would go and no way to back it up. But again, that's all negative thinking. I don't like to think like that. Yeah, I don't like to think negatively like that. So, all right, thank you, gentlemen, for all that conversation. Road updates, gentlemen. I know I got Madison Hills. Dennis, you got Madison Hills Drive.
yeah, a couple of things. Rogers Mill Road, and it appears that some additional signage has been placed over there regarding detours and all, but I would suggest that both ends of the road, that there be another sign placed there that states very clearly, no through trucks. You know, because the other day, we got in there and there was a semi attempting to turn around there at Wesley Chandler's little road. I mean, he asked me, where did that road come out at? And I suggested he didn't need to even drive through it to see it. There was nothing down there. You know, the other thing, we have had another accident at the Sanford Crabapple Hollow Road, this time with injuries. A young lady was ejected from a vehicle. Again, it was distracted driving, but hopefully when we enter into this arrangement with the DOT and whatever's happening with widening that road, specifically some additional signage or lights or something will be added there. Okay. And the last thing I have is there was an accident, I believe, maybe Thursday or Friday, over there in front of Hull Sanford. And while this is Frank's, our friends with the DOT could help us a great deal if we were to send them a letter or something identifying that as slow down, it's a school zone.
There's a school zone sign, but there's no, like, this should be what the, like, the speed limit is still 55. The speed limit never changes, it just says this is a school zone.
Well, that's just it. It's almost like when the light changes, if someone sees it coming from either direction, they speed up to beat the light, regardless of the fact that it's a school zone. And, you know, I'm not sure who we would need to talk to about that, but it would probably be a good idea. Here again, there are occasions when the pickup line actually is out into the turning lane going into the school. You know, not ours, but we could use some help.
People also have an issue turning left into the school, or people who are turning right into the school coming from Eagles direction, not yielding to the people turning left because they're so used to. There's a big sign there that says yield to oncoming traffic, but people are so used to having the right of way when they turn right that they don't think about it.
We just need to request traffic cops to review that.
Yeah, I got it down.
Just want to comment in addition on Rogersville Road, and just something to learn. GPS systems have different mechanisms for picking up roads, and when people came by and started looking for detours, they still called old Rogersville Road as a potential way to get around that, and it's been dead ended for years. Anyway, it's just something we might want to, whenever we have this situation like this come up, we might want to help use those tools to make sure we identify all the potential. I had a call on that, and I shared it with Derek, and they immediately went out there and put a dead end sign there, and that stopped the problem. But apparently it was pretty common with GPS systems, because a lot of people were seeing that as a detour on their GPS, and they go down there, turn around, and come back out.
I had plenty of calls on it, trust me.
Anyway, thanks to Derek and the company for responding quickly to that.
Frank, you got anything?
I haven't had any phone.
There.
Just majority riders, I understand the youthful desire, but they do make a mess and tear up stuff, so. Couple dirt roads out my way down near the river, just have some.
So I guess, you know, for the newspaper purposes, and I don't know which parts you'll pick out of this for tonight's meeting, but dirt roads are not ATV trails. Dirt roads are county property. If you get caught on a four-wheeler, on a county road, dirt or paved, you're gonna get a ticket. If you're destroying that road, tearing it up in any way, vehicle, four-wheeler, motorcycle, you're gonna get a ticket. You're probably gonna go to jail. Just saying. And unfortunately, you know, as I make these road lists, Dennis, you're not wrong, Frank, you're not wrong, nobody at this table is wrong. The Crabapple Hollow situation, just like Rogers Mill with a guy trying to turn around, that's a fluorescent orange sign. We can't make you a better driver. We can't put enough signs out there to make you a better driver. People got to be responsible. At Crabapple Hollow, we put those red flashing lights up. If you pull out in front of a car there, nothing on this planet is going to stop that car from pulling out. We just can't.
I agree.
Yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is for the newspaper purposes, I want people to pay attention in the car. Don't get yourself killed. Pay it, or don't kill somebody.
Drive it, drive.
Drive. Jesus Christ.
Well, that was one of the first questions the young lady had with the EMS, was where her phone was at.
Sure it is. Sure it
It
is.
had to be rejected from the vehicle. She was conscious enough to ask where her phone was at.
Well, I can say that Crabapple Hollow is, which the chairman will get to that, it has been submitted in the SAC grant that we applied for last week. That's signage, RPM, all that good stuff. Or is it RP or RB?
It's RPM.
RPM, raised pavement markers. Those are the
little
marks
bumps.
above, the little fluorescent.
Okay.
Red one direction, yellow, or white the other. But anyway, just do the best you can. We're trying to make people aware. I mean, we're having so many accidents, and every bit of it's distracted driving. I think if you're in an accident, distracted driving, they'll pull your license for a year. I mean, it makes me sad. It's sad to see people that just keeps doing the same thing repetitively. Thank God the governor decided to ban phones from schools up through the 8th grade. I just don't know why he stopped at the 8th grade.
Been trying for a couple of years, then we'll.
Well, I think that'll definitely help our Board of Education out a lot, and our school teachers and our parents that are school teachers. So, with that being said, gentlemen, statements, remarks from citizens, statements, remarks from commissioners, urgent matters, executive session, discuss real estate acquisition, personal matters, potential litigation.
No, sir.
Commissioner Dawson.
Move to adjourn.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank y'all.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
He has 14. Although Brian, he has a more senior animal.
Yeah.
Mr. Brian.
Brian just looks like he's.
Sorry, I was surprised that David and I had
Okay.
even discussed that, but.
Good thing we got to get a chair.
Better?
Did I understand that?
Remind Nail.
We're still struggling with our grimace.
Nail needs to be up here
That's
bad.
what I understood the other
It's just shot out.
We need a separate agreement.
Well, that was great.
It's just shot
I
out.
didn't have to go through all this.
What I don't
Frank,
know
did you want to
is,
flag?
I can have a municipal court service for some purposes of use county court purposes. I've never heard of that. I don't know if that works constitutionally.
Well,
Hope you enjoy
Clean
the
up, turn the thing in, sit
if we can get our own.
Two different.